Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $15 Bank Shop best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Tuesday, Super Tuesday in college basketball. First up, we go to the Big Ten as Indiana takes on Michigan State. This one's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern. It'll be on ESPN. Now, in this matchup, we see Indiana and Michigan State ranked 35th and 27th in adjusted defensive efficiency, respectively, and two teams that are ranked 341st and 333rd in average possession length defensively. So teams that play well defensively and they like to slow things down. You would think to take a look at the under in a matchup like this when these teams meet, but I actually think that both defenses are a tad overrated, and I think there's some value on the over in this matchup because of it. Two defenses that they're not very aggressive. They don't really force a lot of turnovers. Indiana 278th in turnover percentage defensively. Michigan State, one of the worst teams in college hoops, 350th in turnover percentage defensively. So I think, you're going to see a lot of shots in this game from both teams. Both teams do a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball, so plenty of good looks, I think, for both teams in this matchup, even if the game is played at a slower pace. I think both teams are going to be able to score pretty consistently. We saw in the last game for Michigan State against Michigan, it was a tough spot on the road for sure, but in that game, it was back and forth offensively between the Wolverines and Spartans, and when it mattered most, Michigan State just could not get a stop. They gave up 84 points in the end of that game, even though the first half they played pretty well defensively, and they lost that game by double digits, and I just can't trust this defense, even at home here, against a very good Indiana offense, 25th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency, with pretty much NBA players in the starting lineup that can score from anywhere on the court. Michigan State's got plenty of shooters on its roster as well. A team that takes care of the basketball, and sure, they don't get to the free throw line a ton, but a great three-point shooting team. Tyson Walker, one of the best playmakers in the conference, in my opinion. So I think both teams, although this game may not be played at such a fast pace, I think because of the defensive efficiency numbers on paper, we're getting some value taking the over in a matchup like this. So give me the over in Indiana, Michigan State. Next up, we go to the ACC as Miami takes on Virginia Tech. This one will be 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. Virginia Tech took down Pittsburgh last time out, and we've taken them a few times in their step-up games at home because this Hokies team plays very well in front of its home court, and they beat Virginia, Duke, and now Pittsburgh in some of the feature games at home this season. But I don't like this matchup for Virginia Tech at all. I think Miami is just not it's a very bad matchup for the Hokies. You look at Miami in the first meeting between these two back on January 31st. They scored 92 points in that game and a 9-point win at home. And that's what I really worry about Virginia Tech is the defense in this game. Last time out against Pittsburgh, they scored 79 points against a good defense. They had a good shooting night. It was a good game for Virginia Tech, but the defense was relying on Pittsburgh really just having a really bad night from the perimeter. 3 of 18 from 3, 16.7%, well below their season average. I do think Virginia Tech was a little bit fortunate in that game, but I don't think you can expect that game after game, especially against a team like Miami, who's 6th in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the conference, one of the best shooting teams really in general in the country. They take care of the ball. They're very good on the offensive glass. I think Miami's offense is going to have its way in this one, and while the Hurricanes' defense is also not great, I still think it's good enough to win this game. I think Virginia Tech's in trouble in this one, so give me the Hurricanes. I'm going to take them on the money line. Next up, we go to the AAC as East Carolina takes on Tulsa. This one's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. I've said I'm looking to fade East Carolina in most of their road games down the stretch this season as they have really struggled in conference play on the road, and that includes a game against the weakest team in the conference in Tulsa, a team that's 5-21 overall and 1-14 in conference play. I will say, although it's been a really disappointing season for Tulsa, I actually think this matchup's not too bad for them. This is a game where East Carolina team that takes a lot of three-point jumpers. They don't really make them at a very good rate. They're ranked 282nd in the country in three-point percentage as a team, but they still take plenty of three-pointers each game. And Tulsa, the one thing they've been able to do defensively pretty well this season is defend the perimeter. They're ranked 83rd in the country, top 85 in the nation in three-point defense. They also don't take too many fouls defensively, which is also important for an East Carolina team that gets to the free throw line quite a bit. So I think, although Tulsa's defense has not been very good this season, if there was a matchup that benefited the most, especially playing at home where ECU has played so poorly on the road, I think this would be the game. I think Tulsa grabs another conference win, probably their last conference win of the year. So I'm going to take the Golden Hurricanes, and I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to take them on the money line as well. Next up, we go to the Big 12 as Iowa State takes on Texas. This one's going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern start time. It'll be on the Longhorn Network. I think both of these teams are good. I think Texas is one of the best teams in the country right now. And I do think they are the better team in this matchup. But overall, I just think this is a really bad spot for Iowa State and a pretty good spot for Texas. As you get Texas, a little bit frustrated after only beating Oklahoma by 2 points. A little bit of a scare there in overtime at home. You got Iowa State, who's just played so poorly on the road in conference play, at least down the stretch. They have not won a true road game in conference action since January 7th, so well over a month ago. And Texas is also in a revenge spot here. They lost to Iowa State in the first matchup. I think Texas is the better team. I think the spot benefits them a lot more. So I'm going to take the Longhorns here, and I'm going to lay the points. Next up, we go to Akron and Toledo in the MAC Conference. It'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern start time on ESPN+. We saw these teams meet about 2 weeks ago, back on February 7th. It was a 10-point win for Toledo on the road. Really impressive game for them. And the Rockets have been the best offensive team in the conference, one of the best in the country. They're on an 11-game win streak right now, and in those 11 games, only one of those wins where they scored less than 80 points. So this offense is scoring 80-plus points a night against some of the best teams and the worst teams defensively in this conference, including 84 points in that game against Akron. And for an Akron team, it just doesn't play too well on the road, and a team that's been so inconsistent at times, really on both ends of the court. We saw a stretch where Akron, who's been one of the better defensive teams in the conference, they gave up 84 to Toledo, and then they followed it up with a 90 points allowed to Ohio on the road. So I just can't really trust Akron in this game, especially considering their offense has also been inconsistent. I'm going to take Toledo in this one. I think this matchup benefits them. I'm going to take the Rockets and lay the points. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.